Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Grand Prix, which is about the 5th or 6th Grand Prix that we fixed on this channel for a little while now. And we did a video where we looked it all over, checked it all out, and worked in the bottom of the cabinet, and then turned the thing on, and guess what? It still worked. And then we did a video where we worked in the back box. We found a bunch of interesting stuff back there, and we cleaned all the score reels, started the game, and guess what? They all reset. This thing is cooperating. It wants us to fix it. Now, it already pretty much worked whenever we got it, so we haven't done much, but we're doing preventative maintenance, getting it where hopefully it will last for quite a while longer. One of the things that we still have to mess with is this chime unit, which has seen better days for sure. And we have to mess with the Playfield. So we removed the Playfield in the first video so that we could get down here to all the stuff in the bottom of the cabinet. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the cabinet. This is a particularly heavy one because it's got 2 bonus units and a bunch of stuff hanging on it. So let me get it, and we will put it back in here, and then we can look at all the little details of the bottom of the Playfield. All right, so I lifted it back up in there. That thing's pretty heavy. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, I don't know, 60, 70 pounds, something like that. Seems like it. So, like I said, it's just loaded down. It's got all kinds of things. It not only has the 2 stepper units, but it has 4 drop target assemblies. And these are kind of the large ones that they used for Williams. I don't even know if drop target is the best word for it, because each one can be individually reset. So, I don't know. I don't know what they called it. So we've got those. There are 2, whatever, light rows on each side. What would you call it? That are run by these 2 spinner units. There are 3 kick-out holes. The usual 2 kickers and 2 flippers. And the bonus units on these were like the most complex ones, really, that they came out with. They have an extra coil so you can completely reset the thing. We've talked about that multiple times. If you're watching this in our playlist, we've got about 15 videos. I think this might be the 16th Grand Prix video that we've made. So we've got some more relays down here. Looks like the labels have fallen off of all of those. So who knows what they actually do. And then we've got some there behind that as well, including a capacitor. So the capacitor works with, I think, well, it's attached to that one coil there. We might have to look that up. But there's also a capacitor up here with a bridge rectifier because they're running some of the coils off of DC voltage, just to make them a little more snazzy. So you've got these 2 pop bumpers here. That might be what's running off of that. I can't remember if it's that or if it's the actual flippers. But whatever, you get the point. So some of the coils run off AC, which was traditional, and then they had at this point started running some of the stuff off of DC to make it a little stronger. Here's another random relay, the 500-point relay, just attached to the bottom of the Playfield. You can see what they were doing. They had ran out of space. The entire bottom of the cabinet is full of relays. I mean, there's not room for one more relay down there. You see that, right? It's full. So now you start putting them on the bottom of the cabinet. I mean, the bottom of the Playfield. But then it's full. So now you start hanging them off a board on the bottom of the Playfield. It's just, this is one of the most overpopulated EM pinball machines ever. I love it. It's a great game. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean these Jones plugs so we can go ahead and plug it in for the final time. We'll probably never have to remove the Playfield again, right? So I'm going to clean these off. I just use sandpaper. You've seen me do all this a million times, but here we are again. We've got one more to do. So I'm going to clean these off and clean the plugs where they plug in. And then we can plug it in and be done with it. So that's next. So I cleaned those and put them back, and I've removed this little board here, and I can actually see the labels now. They're underneath the relays. And then the ones here too. This one is the change relay. We talked about that in the previous video. So, same thing as we always do. I'm just going to clean all of the contacts. And the one with the cap on it is the delay relay. That's a strange little circuit that they made to work along with the tilt relay. So, let me show you what that does really quick. I'm incorrect. This is not the one I was thinking of. This says the delay. This relay operates on direct current. It is pulsed by the left or right spinner relay. That's interesting. Opens the circuits that energize the top eject relay, the left and right bonus relays, and the out hole relay. So there's only one switch on it, and it's right in the way of making the top eject, the left eject, and the right eject work, just as they said, and the out hole. So it looks like the purpose of it is to make sure that the ball settles down in the dish before it kicks the ball out. That would be my guess. So if the ball lands in the right eject hole, oh, and it's only if it's hit the spinner. Remember, the spinner turns it on, so maybe it's just to make sure that you get all of your points. You know, so maybe it would be easier for the ball to land in the top hole after you hit the spinner. So you hit the spinner and the ball lands in the top hole on the top eject switch. But since you just hit the spinner, the delay relay switch is still open. And it'll sit there in the top eject switch until that delay finishes. Then the power will connect and it will eject the ball. So I suppose the whole purpose of it is just to make sure it doesn't steal points from you whenever you hit the switch. It's kind of interesting that they felt the need to put that in. So that's on a Williams. This is a Bally. So that's a Williams 1976 Grand Prix. This is a Bally 1976 flip-flop. And it also had a relay called the delay relay, but it works completely differently. So there's the delay relay. The slam switch turns it on. So when the delay relay comes on, it opens the switch here and it kills power to, you know, like the coin switches, the credit relay, all kinds of stuff like that. It was like a security measure. Like I said, it's similar to like how the tilt works. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that. So there was a delay relay on the Williams games and a delay relay on the Bally games, but they were completely different items that worked completely differently. Yeah, I didn't know that. Oh, and by the way, the Bally delay relay is the one that holds itself on with a light bulb. So they have wired it with a flash lamp inside the cabinet. So when the delay relay pulls in, it holds itself on through a flash lamp, 455. When the 455 flash lamp heats up, the filament disconnects. It cools off, bends back, and then reconnects, and that's what makes the 455 bulb blink. But the way they're using it, when it heats up after 3, 4, 5 seconds and opens back up, it kills the power to the delay relay. So that's that weird one with the little light bulb inside the cabinet that you might see on your Bally machine. This is the change relay. Look what a beautiful little contraption this thing is. Look at that. So cool. Okay, so the next thing we're going to mess with are these little spinner units here. This is the same as the match unit in the back, and there are 2 little discs on it. But the problem is you can you can put that disc back on there 4 different ways. See how that shaft is square? So you can see where that little nylon piece has went on. Whoop, maybe. What you think? Is it going to focus? Is it going to allow us to do it? Always a little too far. So the nylon piece is square. So in other words, you can put this on 4 different ways. Now there's a little clip here that you squeeze to take off. So if you look, see how that switchblade is right in the middle of that board? So the one on the inside just runs along a little track, but the one on the outside, it lands on one of these little pads as it spins around. Right? But look at this one. The little blade is between 2 of the contacts. Look at that. So that ain't right. So when we were messing with the previous one, we figured out that whenever you put it back, they kind of have to be close to each other. So it's kind of tricky to figure out. But on this one, see where the 2 screws are? So if we're looking at it from this angle, one of them is at like 6 and one of them is at like 3 or something like that. And then up here, they're nowhere near that. So it's in the wrong spot. If we were to move that one 90 degrees and put it back on the shaft, it would be probably in the middle of the traces again, but it's kind of hard to figure out, does it need to go that way or that way? So how would you ever figure that out? Well, there's some little numbers here on the edge. 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And so if you look on the schematics, you can actually track it down. So I'm going to track it down. So you got to pull that little thing off, clean all of the little board. I put a little bit of synthetic grease on it, and then put the thing back on. But we need to figure out how to put it back on. So there should be, somewhere in the schematics, you should be able to see what kind of the starting position is according to the schematics. So like if on this one it's pointing at 0, and this one's pointing at 2 or whatever, that's the deal. So I'll see if I can track that down in the schematics, and then we'll figure it out. Once I figure it out, I'll tell you in this video, and then forevermore you'll know how to put one of these things back together. Okay, so what that unit does is it lights up a light on the playfield, a big strip of lights, and so each position lights up a different light. But also what it does is this part. Depending on what's connected, so this is with it on position 1, whenever it gets to position 3, for instance, if you're on 3 ball, whenever it gets there, power will connect through here, and it will advance the bonus. So it will advance the bonus at the 3rd position, the 6th position, and the 10th position. If you set it on 5 ball, see how the 5 isn't connected to anything? So on 5 ball, it will advance the ball at the 6th position and the 10th position. I mean, advance the bonus at the 6th position and the 10th position. So on 3 ball, they make it a little bit easier of a game because you only get 3 balls. You don't get to play as long. But they draw these schematics in a known state. So however they're drawn, you can use that to figure it out. So one of the spinner units, you know those 2 boards, there's one on each one. One of them will have nothing connected to pin 1 or pin 2 or 4 or 5 or 7 or 8 or 9. So it'll just have a few wires. So whenever that's at pin 1 on that board, position 1, if we go up here to where the bulbs are, So that's the left spinner unit. You can see that they've drawn it at position 1 here as well. And it should be pointing at a blue and black wire. So we need to find the blue and black wire that's at the end. And whenever that board is pointing at that wire, the other board should be pointing at position 1. Easy peasy. Okay, so this is the left spinner unit. So if you look, see the blue and black wire down there? That's going to the first position. Not to be confused with the 0 position. The first position. I know that's confusing. And if you look on the bottom here, that is actually labeled with a 1. So the blue and black wire is connected to 1. And in that position, we have got the contact on that one right now. So one of the contacts is on that little middle ring, and one of the contacts is on position 1. Right? So on the top, the contact on this one should be on the first position. So once again, it's labeled, but if you look, that end one is actually, it says common, right? So position 1 doesn't have a connection on it. Position 2 doesn't. 3 does. 4 doesn't. 5 doesn't. 6 does. 7, 8, and 9 don't. And 10 doesn't. So I guess on that one I should be saying the same. That first one is not the 10th position. It's the common position. So on this one, clear as day, the 1 is lined up on this one, and it's lined up on this one. So they still had this one in the correct spot, but this one here can't be. So let's see if we can figure it out. It must be screwed up. I think it's messed up. What do you think, Joe?
It's broke.
Joey says it's broke. Let's see what's position 1. On this one it's orange and blue. Yeah. Okay, so it's on position 1 right now. So that's position 1. And the top is over here, which is kind of in between 8 and 9. Well, that ain't right. But you know, it makes sense. If there's 10 positions, then and there's 4 sides, then one of them's going to be on 2.5, and one of them's going to be on 5, and one of them's going to be on 7.5, and one of them's going to be on 10. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, so half the time it would be in between the pads, which is what it's doing right now. Okay, so I need to take that off, clean it up, and then move it around to where it's on position 1, and that should fix the thing. All right, folks, so I have started a game, actually, with the Playfield lifted up. Now, if you ever want to do that just because you're, playing games, make sure you put something between the spinner switches, because what will happen is the spinner hangs down and it gives you 100 points or whatever, and since it stays stuck because of gravity, it sticks on like the 100-point reel and the 100-point score relay, and will burn stuff up. So don't do that. That'd be horrible. That's how the stuff like the bell gets burned up. Okay, so I've got those blocked. So I've got them adjusted, and I kind of just double checked. It spins around in the same direction. So if it's on number 3, the other one should be on 3, 4, the other one should be on 4. Also, these boards are backwards of each other. So this one is a mirror of that one. So the one that's 5 over here is like 6 down here or whatever. It's a little bit off because they're made backwards, right? So here is our string of lights. So the way it works is when you hit the spinner, it turns on the spin relay, which advances the spin unit, which moves the light 1 position. And when it gets to the 3rd position, I don't remember if this one, I think we've got it on 3 ball. when it gets to the third position, if it's on 3-ball, it advances the bonus, right? So we should be able to test it. Yep, it just advanced the bonus. And again. And again. But it does it real quick, even quicker than that. When the spinners hit good. So that's how well they should work whenever you get the... I'm going to call that successfully adjusted. And you can see that when it gets to the right place, it's making the bonus advance. So, 100%. So I've done like 3 videos talking about these, but these bonus units on these Grand Prix fascinate me because they have 3 coils. It makes all the difference, people. This is like the king of bonus units. This is the Cadillac of bonus units. What's the new car, Joe, that's worth money that's not a Cadillac? You know, the Cadillacs aren't really all that great anymore. What would people say now?
I don't know. Everything's expensive.
What do people drive that we see that... We don't buy new cars, folks. We don't know.
Everything I got's old and worn out.
It used to be, when this came out, the Cadillac was the big car, right? So this is the Cadillac of bonus units. So we've been moving it up. And so since we're in game, we can kind of see if all the lights are lighting up. You might be able to do that when you're not in gameplay. So just like a traditional one coil steps it up and the other coil resets it. So as this goes in, it moves it back the other way. That's so at the end of the ball, it can do it one at a time and count as it goes so that you get your 1,000 points. Or I think on this one, it might even be 10,000 points. Right? But it has this special third coil. This is the magic coil. So we're on position 10. So if the game pulls this coil in, it makes this little bar come up here. And that little bar holds this sucker out of the way so that it can't fall back down into the ratchet. And so because that won't go down, it won't catch it. So whenever this goes down, see how that moved and it caught the tooth? Right? But if this is in there, that can't go down. So now whenever it does it, resets it all the way to the beginning. So that's just cool, I think. So anyway, this is the very important part of these Grand Prix. When it gets back to 0, that switch has to open. That switch has to open and then make that one closed. You have got to get these adjusted right, or this thing will never work right. And you got to get it adjusted right on both bonus units. There's 2 of them. Okay, so whenever it steps up to position 1, this has to close, this has to close, and that has to be open. And you see how close that all is? It's just hard to get it just right, but you got to get it just right or it won't work right. And then on the other side, I can show you up here. It's just the typical board, right? So we're going to clean that up with some sandpaper, with some synthetic grease, and dielectric, of course. And then that will be the 2 bonus units. Okay, so we got both of those cleaned up and adjusted. I think everything's good. They were already working again. Now we're up to the flippers. I'm not going to replace anything on them yet, but before we put the playfield back down, I want to fix this. So there is a wire here that they have just put a connector on instead of soldering it, and then the middle one they did as well, but it broke off. So I'm going to solder those back. We'll probably end up, once you see the top, we have to mess with the bushings, it looks like. We're going to have to do something with that. So I don't want to get into that can of worms yet, but I do want to fix those wires while we're down here doing electronic stuff on the bottom, or electrical stuff on the bottom. So that's next. All right, she's ugly, but she's on there. It's a good solid connection. It just looks like crap. Okay, so we're ready to put the Playfield down. And it's time to call in Joe to do his magic work. So we'll get Joe to clean it, take it apart, and wax it, put everything back on it, all of that. So while that happens, I'll play some nice, good, relaxing music for you. Here we go. came out pretty good. So the flippers have been dragging the Playfield. So we're going to have to mess with the bushings and maybe put a spacer in there, because we don't want that to keep happening. But other than that, and a little bit of wear at the kick-out holes there on the left and the right, this thing is in really nice shape, actually. This stuff drives people crazy. It doesn't really bother me. It's just part of the history of it. And then the tack stickers up there, we left those on. I'm not sure what the customer... I know he didn't really want it, you know, high-end. He just wanted it working, so we'll see. Apron still needs some work, obviously. We need new cards. But, very cool. All right, folks, so that's about all we got time for tonight. Join us next time when we troubleshoot it. We'll work on the flippers a little bit. We still have to work on the cosmetic stuff on the score reels there, clean the back glass, replace the bulbs back there, and then troubleshoot it and play it a little bit. So, I hope you've enjoyed it so far. I think this is our 15th or 16th Grand Prix video. We got one more coming, so we'll see you then. If you want to see any of those other Grand Prix videos, I'll put the playlist up here. See you on the next one.